Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and I got a request from YouTube viewer Tiffany who asked me if I could do the leaf tutorial with traditional paints, watercolor paints. So I said sure, and what we're going to do here, I just grabbed a leaf from my front yard and we're going to trace it, because remember, there's nothing wrong with tracing, especially when you're first learning, because you're actually going to draw things the way they actually are instead of how your brain thinks they are. You can draw this with a pencil, or I'm just using a watercolor pencil. This is one of the Inktense pencils. They are my favorite, and I get asked about watercolor pencils quite a bit. I really like these. They're expensive, just like any artist quality watercolor pencil. So, you know, you really have to decide whether you want to make that investment. I think if you buy them by the piece, by the pencil, they're between $2 and $3 a pencil, or you can get a set and save some money. Oop, there's a little buggy on there. See, I just got this in my yard. I'm going to set him down. I'm going to take him outside after I'm done this video. Now you go back on that leaf there, dude. There we go. You just hang out there. You'll go back outside when I'm done. And I'm going to also put a couple acorns in here. I wanted to make it a little different than the watercolor pencil tutorial I had just done. So I'm just going to sketch on my little acorn here. I'm going to put a couple of them on there because I like acorns. We have a couple big oak trees out front in our yard. We got that one, and I'm just kind of setting these to the side where I'll be able to see them while I paint. And maybe I'll just do these two little caps that are kind of hooked together. Maybe I'll do ones with acorns in them. Let's see, how do they look? So I just, you know, I just start off with a sketch. And these are watercolor pencils, so I will be able to turn them into paint when I go to paint them. You can always sketch on a separate piece of paper, though, and then transfer your design on with like some graphite paper, not carbon paper. They make graphite paper, and you can reuse it over a zillion times, and it is made so that you don't damage your watercolor paper or whatever you're working on. Alright, so this is going to be, that's how it's going to be. That's going to be right set up for you. And that way it'll fill the screen a little bit better. So I've got all my items over there so I can look at it while I paint. I'm going to zoom in a little bit though so you can see my painting a little bit better. Now if you're watching this on YouTube, there's like a little button in the corner and you can click it and make it big if you want. And if you need to, you can pause it. So what I've done is I sprayed my watercolor palette. And I'm going to use my flat or angled. You use an angled or a flat, whatever. Or whatever brush you have. It doesn't even have to be this brush. I'm going to wet the leaf right out to the edges. Some of that, I want to go right into that watercolor pencil because I want that to kind of get locked into the paper. So when I go to paint a background, if I decide it needs one, I won't end up having that line smeared into my background. So if I'm talking fast, I apologize. I was just down at the school. We're having the school has a big Halloween party every year. And my son's on student council, and I went to take him down because he was volunteering to decorate the haunted hallway. And I got harangued into doing a little more volunteering. I decorated last night, but they needed a little more help this morning. There's so much work to be done. I don't think anyone ever realizes what goes on to make the kids' parties happen at the school. A lot of work. Your school's PTG is a very hard-working group. or PTA is a very hard-working group, I can assure you. All right, I've got some cadmium red there. I'm going to put some cadmium yellow. I'm just going to get some nice fall colors going on my palette here. And a little sap green, which is, I think, my favorite color. I think sap green is lovely. All right, and maybe a little yellow ochre. You can use raw sienna if you don't have yellow ochre. And let's start with that. So what I'm going to do, and maybe a little burnt sienna or Indian red, whatever you have there for a warm brown. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start adding some color in on my leaf. You can use whatever brush is comfortable for this. I'm just going to keep going back and forth with my different colors. Adding it here and there. I don't want to overblend. I really want the paint to do its thing. So I'm just kind of placing it in there and letting the paint and the paper do what it wants. So I think when people say that their paint looks muddy, it's because they're messing with it too much. You really need to let your paint do its thing. It knows what to do. It's gonna look better if you just let your paint do its thing than if you try to force it to do what it doesn't want to do. I think that's why people find watercolor to be the most difficult medium, is because like when you're doing an oil painting or an acrylic, you can paint over a mistake. You can sit there and mess with it for hours if you want to get it just the way you want it. But watercolor, it kind of has a mind of its own, and it wants to do its own thing. And you kind of have to respect that. Now my leaf doesn't have, I don't want to move that leaf because I don't want to drop that bug onto my painting. My leaf doesn't have any green in it, but I know sometimes that these maple leaves do, so I'm going to put some in there. It's my artistic license. And as it mixes with the red, it does turn a little brown, but that looks natural. And I want to drag that, that red down into my stem. All right, now I think I want just a few little darker areas on some of the edges of my leaves. Remember, this is going to dry a lot lighter. What I'm going to do is make a dark with my favorite mix. We all know what that is. If you've been watching my tutorials, it is ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Very natural dark, and a little bit more of the burnt sienna because I want it a little warmer. Just dripping some of that in there. And I can use the tip of my brush just to give a little bit of definition and just kind of trace my edges if I feel like I've lost it, or maybe some of my paint has gone outside of the edges. I can kind of define them a little bit and just add a few little specks here and there, because we don't want it to be exactly perfect. That's not how our leaves look. They have speckles and, you know, little bites taken out of them from our little buggies that are living in the trees. It's not perfect. Now while this is wet, we're going to use our favorite tool, my favorite tool, the cut up piece of credit card. So the next time you get one of those you have a leftover gift card that you've used up, don't throw it away. Use it for your painting. And we're just going to scrape in a few of the veins. And this looks really natural because you're just darkening the colors that are already there. You're not adding something completely new. Now, I just really like that look. I'm going to leave that to dry, and while that's drying, we're going to pop over here and work on our little acorns. And I'm going to switch to a round brush because, remember how I said before, well, if you've been watching my tutorials, I say match the brush with the thing you're painting. So I think a little round brush is going to paint those acorns really well. I'm going to first go in, and I'm going to just wet the acorn and give it a base color. I'm not going to worry about the cap being separate from the acorn nut at this point. I'm just going to wet them and throw in some base color. It's actually kind of pretty with this, just this watercolor pencil that I chose. I used an Inktense amber colored pencil. I really enjoy those pencils. Pretty much everyone I know that has them says they really are happy with them. But you can always buy one or two at a time and see if you like it before you invest in too many of them. Alright, so I'm going to use the colors I've already used because that's how I roll. I don't like to have discord. I like to have harmony in my paintings. So I'm going to throw in some of that brown. I'm going to throw in some sap green. Ooh. Got out of the lines there. That's going to turn into a bigger acorn because of that. Little my yellow ochre. Just trying to keep the silhouette of it. I'm not going to worry about any detail at this point. That will come later. And we're going to fatten this guy up because I made him too big. I went out of the lines there a little bit. That's alright. He'll be behind this one there. Not a big deal. Alright, now I'm going to go over to my heat gun and dry this up so we can add the final touches. Okay, I just dried that with my heat gun, and I'm going to define these little acorns. So I'm going to make a darker cap color. I'm going to use my burnt sienna and ultramarine. I want to get it a little bit darker. And I'm going to go in. Just put a little bit of a definition on that. A little more burnt sienna for the stem there. And take your time. You know, you don't want to spend, well, I say take your time, but you don't want to spend so much time on it that you're like overworking it. But you do want to, you know, you do want to make sure that you're not rushing. You know, if you're trying to keep up with the video here and you're painting right along with me, then pause it and, you know, wait until you've got it just the way you want it, then go ahead and start the video up again. You know, it's going to be there forever. You can always go back in and check it out. Well, that's drying. I'm just going to scooch over to the leaf a little bit and add a little bit of definition. Add some of those little specks and spots that these like leaves get. Usually around the edges, just to make it look a little more natural. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't want it too perfect. You want it to look like it actually was growing out there in nature. And maybe a little bit more dark on that leaf, on the stem. I'm going to blot that a little bit. I feel like that's going to run into the acorn itself. And I want to lift out a little bit. Blot that a little bit too. I have a little line there that's not quite right. So I'm going to lift that. A little yellow ochre on that to kind of make it come forward, because that's the acorn cap in front. I think the hardest thing about watercolor sometimes is just letting it dry so you can get into the next part. It can be so frustrating because you just want to move on to the next part. And sometimes, a lot of times I'll have several watercolor paintings going at once because I'm impatient and I want to get to the, I want to finish it up. And maybe I don't want to use my heat gun, I want to just get to it. Alright, I'm going to flip this around because I want to see what it's going to look like right side up. So I'm going to work it from the other side for a minute just to see. Now acorn caps have a little bit of a texture on the like little cross-hatching texture. So I'm going to do that with my credit card here. Depending on how wet or dry your acorns are, you'll either lift up and scrape away paint, or you will scribe the paper and make the lines darker. And that's alright. It just gives you a little bit of interest. Well, the acorns are drying, and I've got this turned right side up for me, upside down for you. I'm going to add a shadow, and I'm going to side load it, and I'm going to do kind of like a grayish blue. So I'm going to mix my ultramarine, and I think I want a little sap in there, green it up a little bit, and a little burnt sienna. Because I want it to be a colorful shadow, but I don't want it just gray. I want it kind of like a bluish gray, nice and cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to blot my brush off and just pick up the color in the corner, and then I am just going to go around the edge and see how the color just kind of floats out like that. If I get, if it looks too hard of an edge for me, then I'll just go in with the plain water and feather it out some more. Here on the stem, I think I'll just go right along the edge because I do have a little bit harder of a shadow there under the stem. And it wouldn't necessarily be touching it if the stem is up higher. Can't put a shadow on the under the acorns yet because they are still too wet, and I would just end up bleeding my color out. Just going to go along the edges here. And I want just a soft, diffused shadow. And if I move my leaf over, I can show you what I mean, because that's the kind of shadow I'm getting on the leaf right now. So if I set that here, you can see, I think you can see, I'm not sure with the with the video camera if you can see. I've got a lot of light pointed here. But the shadow under there, especially like under the tip, is just very soft and blurred because how the leaf bends and curls, and you know, more light gets under here and less there. I want a little bit of shadow under that side, but very little, so I'm just getting a tiny bit of paint. And like I mentioned before, move your paper so that you can reach and paint comfortably. Just a very, very soft shadow, and I'm not going to go under the stem on this side. And look at a little hard edge there. I'm going to paint right over that and lift up that hard edge and just smooth it out. That happens sometimes. If you get a little bit of extra water pooled up, you'll get this weird hard edge, and I don't like that. So I'm just wetting over that. I hope you can hear me. I'm kind of getting into mellow mode. And sometimes I mumble. I mumble in mellow mode. All right, let's see. If your paper's cool to the touch, your paint is still wet. So what I'm going to do is go over, dry it one more time, and come back and finish it up. All right, that's dry. So I'm going to put some shadows under the acorns, and we will be done. I think I will stamp a little sentiment on there as well so that it can be a lovely greeting card. So it's right set up for me, upside down for you at the moment because I need to be able to get under here, and I am just going to put in, this is side loading by the way, just a little bit of a shadow to help ground these elements. And I'm just going to work with the tip here and get in there. There we go, and soften it out with some water if it got too dark. It's a little too dark here, so I'm going to soften that with a little water. And I'm getting a little backwash, so I'm just going to paint over there, make it all the same wetness so that I don't get that weird line. But I'm just kind of wiggling a little bit of a shadow in there. I want a little bit darker where they're close together because less light would get in there. And maybe feather that shadow a little bit over here. And maybe just a blur over there, just a little bit there to ground it. And there you go. It's a pretty easy painting project. And you can go find these items in your yard, hopefully, and then you can have something to go by as you paint. I do think the shadow should be a little bit darker under the acorns because they are a heavier, more solid item, so they would have more shadow than the leaf. I want to stamp a sentiment on there, so what I'm going to do is use this as a wood mount one, so it might not work as well as the acrylic ones I've been using, so I'm going to very carefully ink it up so that I don't get any ink on the background of the stamp, hopefully. I think this is, I don't know where the stamp's from. I'm thinking it's Stampin' Up, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to try to line it up good. Pardon my head in the shot. And they're all not bad. So there we have it, our finished card in 18.5 minutes. It was slightly quicker than the colored pencil card. There you have it. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have a suggestion for a future painting tutorial, leave a comment and I will do my best. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.